Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike, check 1 2 1 2. Mike D in the spot, man. I got Leroy over here with me, man. We had a side argument that we felt like needed to go ahead and get broadcasted to the masses, and it's the age
Right.
old argument in hip hop. We've kind of done little spars here and there online, but we got to go ahead and be official with it. Who deserves the number 1 spot, Nas or Jay Z? I say Nas. Leroy says Jay Z. And want to give a full analysis of why one feels that each individual deserves that number 1 spot. Would you like for me to go first, or do you want to articulate why you believe Jay Z should be in that number 1 spot? And I can
All
rebuttal.
right. Well, I can go first, but you got everybody here. Y'all know me already. I've been saying this forever. I should have got my Rock Nation hat on, but anyway. So with Jay, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'll give three reasons, and if y'all want another one, I can go. But I'll give three, right? So the first thing is people think that he's not conscious. That works great for him. Thinking that he's not conscious gives him the opportunity to prove you wrong. So from reasonable doubt to 444, there are a number of times he proves you the people wrong that he actually is conscious. You know what I mean? So that's one. Even if you take Can I Get a? Let's take his most poppy songs. Can I Get a? The real message of that song is if you're a female that overlooks the working class man to go chase the a wealthy guy, you're shooting yourself kind of short because you probably could have built a life with that working class guy and it probably would have been more, so that's the real message, but it's wrapped in commercialism. So but anyway, that's one. So I think Jay is conscious. Second, um if we go to like American Gangster or all of his, gangster ethos raps, right?
Hmm.
He's not even describing the act. Like you would like if I'm talking about if I'm making a gangster rap song, I'm describing the act. We pull up and we did this, that, and the third, right? That's explaining the action. What Jay is doing is explaining the motivation behind the psychology of the gangster. That's he's explaining why. Why did you do the act in the first place? So that he's explaining psychology.
He's
Third,
great at that.
yeah, and he's explaining feeling like like friend or foe, or it's a feeling that he got from a certain situation, or can I live? So he describes feelings. Third, lastly, of course, now I'm going to the wording itself, which is going to be hard to get beyond, is double entendre. Now, I know people, they kind of overlook that or don't think that's a big deal. It actually is a big deal because it means you're saying two things in one rhyme. So, but he does this consistently to the point to where now at this point, we're expecting that from a verse of
Well, no,
his.
no, no. Wait. Let me back you up a little bit. How
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
often does he do it? Because I feel like double entendres in hip hop to me are kind of like triple doubles in basketball, where it's like it's an amazing stat, but does it really win you the game, and does it really tell the whole story? And how often does it happen? Because off top of my head, I think about the double entendres when it comes to, his running back wordplay that was on Dirt Off Your Shoulders,
Right.
and not Jackie Wilson, Jackie Robinson wordplay that was on Brooklyn We Go Hard.
Right.
I'm Jack, I Rob, I sin. Oh no, I'm Jackie Robinson, except for I
That was
dodge base.
crazy.
Yeah, I sell base, I dodge the pin. Lucky me, they couldn't get me. Yeah, I'm the
It's
black. I bring
extended
to
entendres.
Brooklyn, and I'm Black Brand Tricky. Yeah, but how often does it happen?
It happens quite a lot of times. Once we get to the point where we're expecting that before we even hear the verse, like when Neck and Wrist was about to come out on the Pusha T song, we already expected double entendres to be there. When God did came out, we expected the entendres to be there. But what I'm
Were they
saying
there?
is, yeah, they're there. They're there. You know what I mean? Like when he
So,
on Neck and Wrist, the sob story. Save your soliloquies. I got different sob stories. Sob and sob the
yeah,
car.
yeah, I got it. It's just not as
Got
good.
it. But
It's not as good as the other ones. It seems a little forced. But like you said, when you start
okay,
expecting it, it's like, yeah.
what is your what? But as a rapper in the writing, if you are claiming the best rapper, I have to be able to see in the writing what makes you the best and what is your special ability. Do
hmm
you have one? What is your
I would
special
say Jay
ability?
Z's special ability is being a conversational MC. When he's in conversational mode, that's his superpower. I think the double entendres. There are people who do that better than him. You know what I mean? Maybe not on his level, if you will, or his stardom. But if we look at guys like a King Los, if we look at a guy like a Sahai or something, like these guys can pull off things like that that'll make your head spin. But when it comes to
Method Man,
conversational, nobody's
yeah.
fucking with Jay on that.
Method Man is going to give you 16 bars and he's going to put in 8 double entendres in
Yeah,
16 bars, right?
I can give Method
Jay
Man
is going
that
to
too.
Jay is going to do 16 bars, but he's going to put 2 entendres in those 16 bars. But whose hits hardest? You know what I mean?
I think
So,
that the way that Jay is able to deliver things in a conversational way is why he's able to connect with people so well too. I think his everything that he does connects so well because how conversational he can be. I think when you got songs like You Don't Know, those hit the hardest because of how
right.
conversational they are. Reasonable Doubt hits in the way that it does because he's in conversational mode for most of that album.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think
he's
that's his
also the reason.
superpower.
Okay, and I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. But the reason why it's conversational is so because he's actually describing his real life. Now
Yeah,
people now people are gonna say, okay, you're giving him extra points for authenticity or describing his actual reality. And that's fine. We could give him those extra points or not, because I'm not the type. Now I'm gonna give Nas heads a super jewel that they never have ever used ever once. Is it better to live your rhymes or not live your rhymes and describe what you saw in someone else's experience? What is the better technique?
you want me to answer
So
that?
go
As a
ahead, go ahead.
creative and as a writer, I would have to give the person who is a creative writer and who's proven time after time that they can be a creative writer more points because they're able to dig into their imagination and create new stories, new things. They don't have to just dig from personal experiences because over a
Mhm.
30 time span, you become a little bit more limited when you're just digging from personal experiences. It's almost about everything
Right.
that's either going on in your life or has gone on in your life. But that person that is able to get creative and do a I gave you power or do a rewind or just come with these creative stories or a blaze of
Right.
50 or something. Their imagination is limitless because
Hmm.
they can create new things and new stories and new ways to tell stories and new ways to do
So
things. And
yeah.
I'm not saying that Jay-Z is limited by his approach of writing about his experiences. I do feel like there was some longevity in that, and there was a level of
Yeah.
interest that was continuously, making him relevant during the time that he was at his hottest because he was able to speak to his life as it was going. But when your life is no longer as exciting as it once was when you were a little younger, you weren't married, you were on tour, you were out here, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
now you're a family man, and writing about that part of your life might not be as exciting as it once was. Whereas the creative writer who was able to dig into those things, no matter where their life currently is, they can
I've
continue to
never heard a
create.
Nas fan. I've never heard a Nas fan ever use that.
I'm
I'm
just
the only one. I'm the only one in 30 years who I've ever heard make that argument. So that why I'm saying that is because I believe Nas fans should develop better arguments because I develop them all the time. I end up
listen.
no, I'm serious. Even when life is good was happening, I was developing arguments for that. There were other albums that happened from Nas, Distant Relatives. I was in coming with arguments for that. I need Nas fans to develop arguments that make sense. Now,
Well,
lastly,
I
I'd
know
say,
nothing about that. I've just come into
I
the
know,
table as
yeah,
a hip
true,
hop fan, as somebody who's just looking at things for what they are. Because when I started in the
right,
podcast game, I had Jay over Nas, and my reasons for
yeah,
that were more towards the fact that I felt like Jay was better for longer. I felt like, at a certain point, Nas's music, to me, at the time, and we're talking about the mid 2000s, it wasn't
yeah,
as exciting or on the level of what his music was in the 90s. Now, I would never question Nas's skill or his skill set. He's ultimate MC, always has been. I even said in those moments when
yeah.
I thought that Jay was all time better than Nas, I always say, and my ex co-host Coop can confirm this. I say 1996 Nas is the best rapper I've ever heard in the history of this planet. And what has made me change my stance, and I'm not changing stances on old things, because I do still feel like if we're talking about 2017, yeah,
Mhm.
maybe Jay is still ahead. But I just can't discount how great Nas is currently. I've never seen somebody this good this late. I have to give credence and credit to the fact that he was able to collaborate with a producer that wasn't even in his generation and make six really dope albums. Honestly, three or four of them that could be in his top 10, and he's doing this at the age of 49,
Wow.
50, 51. And then you couple that with the fact that he's always been great. He came in this thing, 17, well, obviously Illmatic dropped when he was like 19, 20, but he was signed at like 17, 18. He was making noise out here. We've heard verses from when he was 17, 18 years old. He was already advanced. You hear the stories about how, lyrically advanced he was just from jump. And there's never been a point where Nas wasn't a great MC. When Pac and Big and these guys were roaming the earth, Biggie even said, like, at the Source Awards, the infamous Source Awards where everything went down, he said, look,
Mhm.
Nas should get Lyricist of the Year, but, I think I should get Album of the Year for Ready to Die. And this is Biggie saying this. Like, the greats have always conceded to his lyrical excellence. And when you look at him as a writer and as a storyteller, he's leagues ahead of everyone. I mean, I was just, dumbfounded by the fact that one day we were just counting out all the storytelling songs that he has. He has like 50 plus. Nobody in this genre has anything close to that. And as a writer, he's just somewhere
Are
else.
you?
And the
I
other
mean, I hear a
part,
lot of claims,
and
but
the other part of it is
yeah,
when I constantly see all of the unreleased stuff that this man has put together, from Foul Breeze to, just countless things in the 90s that never dropped. High, it makes me feel like, and then you hear those I Am stories, it makes me feel like what Jay said on Takeover was more industry politics than Nas's work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's
I,
proven
yeah,
this in recent time that his work ethic never was the question.
I don't think it's his work ethic.
Now that we have digitized formats of putting music out and people don't have to go through the labels as much, we see what his output is. And I'm like, okay, well, his output probably was always like this. That's why he has lost tapes. Jay had the luxury, and his hard work is his hard work. But Jay had the luxury of everything that he was able to put together was coming out because him and Def Jam had that relationship. Def Jam had that relationship with DMX too. So
Still
I think
though,
even in the 90s, when I viewed it, I'm just telling you how I viewed it. I viewed it as the fact that, yo, this nigga Jay just dropping every year and hitting niggas with bangers. And everybody else is kind of like, taking their time. Maybe it wasn't like that as much. But again, better late than never. And Nas has shown in recent time that, boom, I can hit you with this, 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 and this. And I do think it is special that even if this whole thing was even, let's just say all of this was
What
even.
are the rhymes that are so impactful? Tell
What
me
are the
what it
rhymes
is.
that are so impactful? Have
I
you
mean,
heard Illmatic? Have you heard New York State of Mind?
okay, so
Have you?
from 30 years ago are the rhymes that are so impactful. So
Well, I mean, I could. What do you mean? You're talking about the rhymes that are
I'm
impactful?
I'm just saying like this, right? Jay was speaking to impact. So yes, Nas has a lot of he drops a lot. Jay was dropping a lot too.
Mhm.
Not Jay was saying, where is Illmatic 2? Where is Illmatic 3? Where is It Was Written 2? Where is It Was Written
Well,
3?
you don't feel like Stillmatic.
Why is my impact greater than you when you're allegedly the greater MC? That
Well,
doesn't
I can
that
answer that.
why? Because we're both super famous.
All right, I can answer that. I think
We're
a lot
both
of
at the
Jay's.
same level of fame.
No. I can answer that. Jay's fame didn't start to turn until he started making hits.
98.
Yeah, he started making hits, and I
And
think
he
the
could have
Annie
stopped
sample.
rapping.
I think the Annie sample was genius, and he also one of the big things he did, and he's even confirmed this himself. He dumbed down his flow a little bit. He was like, you know what, all of that stuff that I'm
Did
saying on
he?
Reasonable Doubt and what I'm saying on Volume One, it goes over people's heads, right? So let me slow it down. I'm standing on the
Did
corner
he?
bopping to dropping some of the coast, huh? Yeah, I mean honestly.
Did he dumb down his flow? Because
Leroy, you all that lyricism stuff you're talking, Volume Two, the one that sold the most, is dumbed down the most.
is it? I
It
I
is.
I think
Give
I
me
think
give me
what
the
Jay
best
was
verses on
saying.
Volume Two then. Give me the best verses on Volume Two.
I mean, I could go with It's Like That. I could go with Hard Knock Life. I could go with
How great
If
are
I
those
Should Die.
verses? Based on
Huh?
Jay Z's skill set, based on
Right.
who Jay Z is as an MC, and that we know who he is as an MC.
Right.
Rate those verses on those songs you're talking about on a scale
I'm
from
not
1 to 10 on Jay Z's level.
I'm not the ultimate authority on rating. I think we're looking at
No
someone to
one's
be the
saying that,
authority
but we know
on
what
rating.
levels
I'm not the
are. As
authority on
fans,
rating.
as fans, we know what
No.
levels are. I'm an
But
Outcast
listen,
fan, right? I'm an Outcast fan, and I'm an Andre
I'm
fan.
not the authority on
No
rating.
one's saying anybody's the authority. We're just having a conversation. You have enough of an opinion where you feel that there is some lyricism on Volume
But
Two. You know Jay Z's
again,
levels,
we're
and
talking about moment of clarity. That's where he made the statement.
yeah,
Now
and it's true.
either moment of clarity is a well thought out song or it's not. So if
What
it's
do
a
you mean?
well thought out song, is he saying I'm the one that dumbed down? And yes, verbally he
Yes.
said that. Or is he saying the crowd seems to repeat club anthems because every time I make one,
Well,
they all yell holla.
let me break this down.
If skills
I
sold,
think
truth be told, I'd probably be Talib Kweli. So what is he really
I
saying?
can tell you exactly what he's saying. Can I go? What he's saying is the fact that there is a smaller market for people who want to hear just straight up lyricism. There is a wider market for people who want to hear, like you said, anthems and who really aren't listening to the verses per se. Like you said, on Hey Poppy, it's like even if they don't understand the flow, they understand the dough. It's very simple. You know what I mean? It's like I'm now speaking to an audience that wasn't going to play Reasonable Doubt, that wasn't going to play Volume One. Now, granted,
Right.
and kudos to Jay, when he broke it in '98, he was able to grab some of that audience that would go back and support that lyrical stuff that he was doing. But based on the
Right.
numbers, Volume Two is by far his highest selling album. He was never able to
Oh
reach
yeah, yeah.
that again, which lets me know that that fan base that he was able to garner with that approach didn't stick with
Mm.
him through the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's
We
cool.
see.
That's part of the game. He did what he had to do. Now you're asking me why, one's impact is more than the others, and I guess it's a loaded question. When you say impact, what do you mean exactly?
Oh, what I'm saying is this: Jay is very tricky. So
No, you
even
said
if he
something
kept
about Jay having more impact than Nas, and I want you to clarify that before I'm able to.
okay, okay. So in the song in question, which was Takeover, right? He's questioning Nas's ability to consistently strike. Right now, Nas is consistently striking though. Like
Yes.
so, he's not saying you're not consistent. What he's saying is these aren't repeated illmatics. These aren't repeated it was written. You're starting off high, then you're going low, right? Now people could make that argument about Jay, but in those albums they call dumbed down, there's still a lot of intelligence there. But what I'm saying is that was his point. And at that time, Jay is saying this is part of the reason why I'm hotter than you. You know what I mean? I don't think Jay is saying you're just not dropping no material, but he's saying I am, and Lost Tapes and Lost Tapes is a label album. It's not a Nas release. But we can count
He
that.
made the songs though.
That the label dropped that. The
He
label
made
dropped
the
that.
songs though, did he not?
Did he want that album out?
He never said he didn't. I've never heard Nas say he didn't
Okay.
want the Lost Tapes
So
out.
so we'll count it. We'll count it. I'm just letting you know the label put that out. So
I
well,
mean, the label puts out everything.
but that's Illmatic. Lost Tapes is Illmatic.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying. Well, according to Nas fans, everything he does is the ultimate classic. I don't
No.
believe that,
I
and neither
listen, we're
Jay
not
didn't
talking.
believe.
You're not talking to
Jay
Nas
didn't believe that.
fans. You're talking to me. You're talking to me.
But they're
Again, I'm
described.
being unbiased about this.
All of his albums will be described as top Nas. Jay didn't believe that. Is what he's saying. Jay didn't believe Nostradamus was written. Jay didn't believe that, Stillmatic was Illmatic. He didn't believe Godson was it was written. He didn't. So he's saying that these albums aren't what your fans are making them out to be. To me, Jay's
Oh,
saying to
where
me
did he say
personally.
that? What song are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about Takeover, and he was
Well,
saying,
a takeover, Godson, and all that. What now?
right.
Honestly, all right. Let's really
But these albums are not
analyze what he was
Illmatic. They're
saying.
just not.
When he was saying one was the other was Illmatic. I think he's talking about the fact that and this is a misnomer as well. Jay-Z was acting like it was written wasn't like that, and it actually is. And I think that's a false number. Again,
He still
it's a
has a
diss
point there
record. It's a
too.
diss record, so you know Nas said that Beanie Siegel's better than Jay. He said that, and we know that's not true, right? I mean, and for Jay to say that it was written ain't like that, we know it is. You know what I'm saying? It was written actually was given the same amount of mics as Reasonable Doubt and the same issue.
One small point. We give it was written so much credit for the actual writing. Now
Mm.
when we go 20 years later, and love Nas, when we go 20 years later and we take King's Disease 2 and act like the writing itself was similar, we're kind of gassing him
Who said the writing is similar?
because people equate other albums that he has with it was written. Now I'm just saying when I talk about Jay, I could throw money out and fame out, and we could just look at the
Okay.
words on paper. How did he structure those words? If you look at it was written, let's talk metaphor. I gave you power. How
Yeah.
did he structure the scheme of metaphor? Now, are you telling me he does that on Nostradamus? He does that on Life is Good? He does that on King's
No.
Disease? He does that on where is he doing that same writing?
You want to know what my order is? My order, and if we want to talk about same level of writing, I would definitely
Yeah.
say Stillmatic is there. And my Nas top albums is I got Illmatic at 1. I got It Was Written at 2. I got Stillmatic at 3 and a close 3. And then I got KD 3. And then I got Magic. And I do think that even if we're talking about skill level and high level writing, I would say Magic. And you could go to a song like The Truth and be like, yo, is this
I
98
I
or
can't do that.
is
I
this
can't do that.
2022? Now I'm not even listen again.
I don't hear
I
that.
I'm a Nas and Jay fan, and like I said, I came to the podcast space with the notion that Jay was better, and I know both of their catalogs like the back of my hand. I'm not really, I wouldn't say I'm biased one way or another. And I'm just being real with you, man. Like, I've been very critical of Nas in the middle parts of his career because of how incredible he was in the 90s. When I heard Magic, I was like, yo, if somebody would have told me those songs were old, I would have believed it. And I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. And I feel like when I listen to KD, and even KD too, to a certain degree, I'm kind of judging it on a scale like, okay, well, this is, nearly 30 years into his career. I didn't listen to Magic like that. And Magic, the way he's rapping on there, that's good on every level. That's great on his level, on whoever's level you want to put it. And to
That's great
me,
on his level, is what you're saying.
yeah, no, Magic is. And I think
So,
KD3 is
so the
that too.
level of writing is similar on Magic as it was written, is what you're saying, and I don't hear that
Well,
now
I disagree. Listen to the truth.
because the writing
Um,
is different. The
well,
like
even if you
again,
talk about
I'm not
the theme
I'm
of, are
not
you talking about more so, are you talking about
the
flow,
actual writing.
articulation, words, or are you talking about the theme?
I'm talking about how you're actually writing rhymes. So what I'm
You
saying
be
is,
more
and
specific?
I'm not discounting the Nas argument. I'm actually helping y'all. But what I'm saying is, I think for the sake of learning and adding education to hip hop, we should start to break down what is it exactly that Nas is doing that makes him so great. And I'm not saying he's not great. I'm saying find what that is and articulate that. Because with Jay, I could go to Kill Jay-Z and I could say who is rapping? Is Jay rapping? Is Sean Carter rapping? Is Kanye West rapping through Jay-Z? Who perspective is on Kill Jay-Z? So what is happening? So, and it's the writing itself. Now Nas, again, if we go to It Was Written and we take I Gave You Power, we can link that to a certain writing on KD3. Can we link that to Magic though? I think that maybe you're wanting something to be there that's not there. You
Really?
know what I mean?
Like I said, the truth. I mean, I'm talking more so from a skill set, delivery, lyricism.
Delivery.
I think
You're
you're
talking
talking.
delivery.
I think you're talking more so theme. And if you're looking for theme, then we could go to
The
Magic
theme
3.
is streets. Where
Yeah.
both rappers talk about the streets. That's the theme.
Well, no. I'm just talking about just writing techniques and giving you these stories and giving you these intricate ways of looking at
Mhm.
rhymes and painting pictures. Nas is clearly
Mhm.
the better. I think that from jump, they all have, they're number one and two for me. They all have great skill
Right.
sets. If we want to sit here and just break it all the way down, Nas has the better rap voice, right? I think Nas has the
I
better
don't
in.
know that. I don't
Yes.
know that.
Nas has the
Jay's
better
voice
in
has done
catalog.
pretty well.
I mean, I don't think Jay has an elite rap voice, and I think he's even said this. Kanye West has even said this. I
Jay
think
doesn't have an elite rap voice.
no,
Jay Z.
he doesn't.
That's
No.
what I'm saying. First of all,
You
Jay
know
Z
what an
can
elite? You want to know what
Jay
an
Z can
elite rap voice
conversate
is to me?
or he can yell.
Can I
He can
give you?
conversate or yell, and it has the same effect.
Can I give you the elite rap voices in my mind?
And Jay Z has 100 different deliveries.
Can I give you the elite rap voices in my mind? Tupac
You
has an
can,
elite
but
rap. No, 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 no. Tupac has an elite rap
what
voice.
does that say about Jay? Go
DMX
ahead.
has an elite rap voice. Biggie has an elite rap voice. I think that Rakim has an elite rap voice. I think that Chuck D has an elite rap voice. I think that Nas has an elite rap voice. Ice Cube has an elite rap voice. Jay doesn't have a voice that is in the.
Any dope rapper has an elite rap voice because you have to have good voice to be
Method
dope.
Man
Period.
has an elite rap voice. Slick Rick has an elite rap voice. Big Daddy
You
Kane
have to
has
have
an
that
elite
anyway.
rap voice. KRS-One has an elite rap voice. Jay Z doesn't have a better rap voice than
To
those guys.
be dope, period, you have to have that. So that goes for all the dope
But he
rappers.
doesn't have it on that level. He doesn't. I mean, Kanye West doesn't have
Got
an elite rap
30
voice.
years of
He's
evidence that
able to
show
work
different.
around that. See, Jay is that dope where he could work around the fact that he doesn't have an elite rap voice and still be great.
I gave
But
you
yes,
prophecy
Nas
on my
has a better
first
rap
album.
voice to him.
We're all lamed out. Didn't really appreciate it till the second one came out.
Yeah.
So I switched the game out. So he's what that voice is just talking directly to you in a very normal manner. So that is because it puts you in a room with Jay where it's just you and him. That's a delivery tactic. That's voice. Or he can yell 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 in 18
He's not
months.
really
You
doing
know,
that there. He's doing that in the
he can
performance.
yell, scream, and it's still gonna have the same effect. That
He
is
doesn't
is a
yell on that record. You talking about like
on
a live performance.
you don't know? You don't know?
Nah.
He's
He's
almost
calm
yelling.
on that. Turn my music high, 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 high. Yeah, I came into
I'm
this
just saying the
motherfucker
voice thing is not.
strong.
If y'all want to take the voice from Jay, go ahead. But
Yeah.
okay,
And as far
okay.
as the straight up lyricist, Nas got him in that department. Nas is a better
How?
storyteller than him. Nas has.
What
Oh, I
technique?
just want to give my reasons. I want to give my reasons why I got Nas number one.
But what
I think
technique
Nas
blew
has
Jay
been,
out the water?
huh?
I'm saying
So you're telling me from a technical standpoint, you got Jay
every
over
time I
Nas?
talk to a Nas fan, they say, "Well, Nas is the superior lyricist. Move on
Yes.
to the next subject." They don't want to explain what in the writing itself is Jay not capable of, or has blew Jay out the water in the writing itself.
Jay
Where
Z
is that?
hasn't had, and I know you say that's
And
not a
talking
technique or whatnot.
backwards,
Jay Z hasn't proven that he is an elite storyteller either. There's holes in that.
where? Where?
He
Where's the hole?
he's not an elite
The
storytelling MC. Come on now. His
where's the
stories are
okay?
he doesn't
There's a
have enough.
story there. There now, people are going to disagree with this main point, but does storytelling make you the greatest MC? I would
I
take
think
issue with that.
again, I think from a
Now
writing standpoint,
going from
can I go?
Marcy, going from Marcy to a billionaire, is that a story? It is that a
What?
story?
You're talking about his career
Going
as
from
opposed to the
Marcy,
writing. I thought we were talking about writing.
yes, yes, yeah. When from 96 to 2020, there is a story that's Jay is telling. And we could break it down to one
What
album, American,
song?
but there is a story that
What
Jay is telling.
song? We're talking about the music. What song?
Can I Live is a story. The Evils is a story. Meet the Parents is a story. You know what I
Meet
mean?
the
Like
Parents is a story. When we say story,
American Gangsta is a
I want
story,
look. I don't want to sit here and look at stories in an abstract sense. I'm talking about stories with
but
a
that's
beginning.
part of
No.
lyricism.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm talking about a story from beginning, middle, and end. Stories that have a
Yeah,
beginning, middle,
yeah.
end. I don't want to sit here and look at it in an abstract standpoint where we're saying, damn, that everything is a story, where you're
Why
skipping
not?
around and all that. If you get on a record and you're able to give a beginning, middle, and end
Yeah,
to a record and
he's done
lyricism and
that.
all that as
He's
a
done that.
writer, I'm
He's done
sorry.
that.
I'm gonna have to say the person with
He's
over
done that.
50 something, he's done it, but not to the level of this guy. This
So
guy's
doing
an
things a lot.
Jay is not an elite storyteller. What can you concede to the fact that Jay's not an elite storyteller in hip hop? Like a Slick,
No,
like a Biggie,
no,
like a Scarface,
no,
like
because
a
I think
Ghostface,
one. I
like a
think
Nas, like a Ice Cube,
no,
like a Tupac,
no, no.
even a
I think
Kendrick.
one day. I think
Kendrick is a
one
better
day.
storytelling MC than Jay.
I think one day people are going to add context to Jay's rhyme. Once you add context, that changes the game. Because now his words have context. See, what people are doing is they're just looking at the punchline or the entendre or the feeling. Once you add context, what you'll find is Jay is piecing together a story from 96, from Reasonable Doubt to 444. Now that people can, you could
What
disagree with that.
song?
You could disagree.
It sounds like you're
I've named
looking.
them.
It sounds like you're looking into
No,
something
Jay
that's
has
not
no
there.
stories. Okay,
Not really. Not a lot.
but
He
but
doesn't.
bro, you're saying that every that okay, Nas has 50 stories. So people, don't name me Rewind again out of 50. Don't name me Blaze of 50 again out of 50. Don't name me If I Gave You Power out of 50 because you keep naming the same two songs
Let's go
for 30
shootouts.
years.
Die in Love. Nah, I mean shootouts. Die in Love. We got Death Row East.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
got his. It's endless,
You know what I'm
bro.
saying?
Like It's endless. He has
So
way too.
shootouts. What kind of story is that? Is that a consistent story, or is
It,
it multiple stories in one?
it's a consistent story.
It's a consistent story. So the story of him taking out the police officer connects with the body of his friend that people were gathering around. But even if so, right?
Hmm.
Once people add context, you would have to say that what Jay is describing throughout his songs has a beginning, at the beginning, first verse. It has a middle. If we go to 99 Problems, there is a beginning. Now, it's not a consistent story. It's an
Right.
amalgamatum of stories. But yes, I do believe Jay has already proven he's mastered the storytelling chamber. That's not something he has to harp on over and over to prove to you. American Gangsta, from track one to the end track, how many narratives? Because a story is a narrative, and
You ready for
basically
some stories? I know you
in
say
his
you wanted
rhyme.
you wanted me to name some more stories.
But the storytelling's not going to
Huh,
work because
I'll give
Jay
you
has
this.
that
Can
chamber.
can I name some stories? Because we talking music. You talking about his career being strung into a story and all this. I want to give the people some
Context.
music.
I'm talking
I want
about
to give the people
context.
some music. I gave you Power, Rewind, get those out of the way. Undying
The
Love,
story is
got Fetus. Fetus ain't a story. Okay.
a
Of
story or a
course.
context.
Fetus is a story. One Love, Get Down, Shootouts, Daughters. Um, Papa was a
But
player.
these are concepts.
Papa was a
Okay.
player. Second Childhood, Small World, Last Words. Oh, that's a great story. Queen's Story, Blazer 50, Purple, Book of Rhymes. Last Real Nigga Alive is a story as well. Body
These
of
are
Control.
stories or rhymes. These are stories or
Y'all don't know
rhymes.
about my
Like,
Biggie Wars. Well, okay, I got you. I got you. I can see that. Death Row
and
East,
even if they are stories, these are
Project
hitting
Window,
with the impact of Jay Z.
Project Window, Beef. What is Jay Z's most impactful story then? If you want to play the impact game with stories,
I mean, most impactful would. I mean, I don't have to play the impact game, but I would say the evils. But what Nas fans are saying are these
is the
stories
Eagles a
blew Jay's
story from beginning
material
to
out the
end?
water. You're saying that Blazer 50 blew Jay's material out the water.
Who
That's what
said
Nas
that?
fans are saying. That
Who
didn't
said that?
happen. That
Stop
did not
bringing up
happen.
Leroy.
Papa
Stop
was a
bringing up
player,
Nas
blew
fans. You're
Jay-Z
talking to
material out the
me.
water.
You're talking
That
to
did
me.
not happen.
You're not debating Nas fans. Some ambiguous Nas fans who said some. I didn't say any of
But
that.
they
You're
but
talking to
act
me.
like his stories just completely blew Jay out the water. That did not happen.
I
I'm
think
telling y'all.
I think Rewind blows Jay Z stories out of the water.
But
Yes,
that naming that same story, it would be different
very
if
impactful.
Nas had a backward story multiple times in his career.
Why
That
does
would
he
be
have to
different.
do
I
that?
can't
Jay doesn't have anything close to that.
I can't just say the evils for 30 years
Why not?
because it's the same song and there's 30
Well,
years.
well, what Jay Z fans do when it comes to
How many the
storytelling?
evils?
No, no,
How
no.
many the
Listen to
evils
me.
does Jay
When we're
have?
talking about storytelling, Jay Z fans always say, "Oh, Meet the Parents." You know what Meet the Parents sounds like to me? It sounds like Jay Z
American
trying to.
Gangster.
It sounds like Jay Z trying to get into storytelling mode because he just got hit with the ether and he was trying to get on Nas' level. Like Nas
Ether's not a
showed,
story.
Nas showed on Stillmatic that as a writer he is superior, and I think that
Where?
what,
Where?
where
Where? What is
we
the
could
writing
no, no,
that
no,
Jay
oh, oh,
is
no,
not
no.
capable of doing?
Second, no, no, no. Second Childhood. What goes around
Oh,
comes around.
rapping about your childhood. Okay.
No, he's not. Have you heard the song? Come on, man. See, I
I'm
think
just saying, like,
that's where Jay Z
okay, okay,
fans. I think that's where Jay Z
okay.
fans kind of come short, where it's like,
No, no,
and
no,
I'm
no.
fans
I'll
of
give you an
both
example.
guys. I'm fans of both guys. I think that the biggest thing here, because again, these guys are
In
both.
the comments, show me the writing. Write the rhymes and then highlight the actual techniques that blow Jay out the
I
water.
like the
And
actual.
again, if you're gonna say backwards rapping, And then you're implying that Nas does that all the time.
No, we're not. What we're implying is, as a creative writer,
Doing it one time
you're not even
is
gonna let me. Can you let me finish? Even though
on,
he
man.
did that one
Writing
time,
technique.
Leroy. Even though he did that one time, what we know of Nas as a creative writer is he's going to give you something that you've never seen done or rarely seen done. Like even when we talk about I gave you power, boom, I
It's
got
like
that
me saying
back.
22
Even
twos.
what he did with beef. You know what I'm saying? Like these are things
Is
that
I
we
gave you
know,
power.
huh?
Beef is the same technique as I gave you
It's
power.
not the same technique. The technique is the fact that I can go out here as a creative writer and do something that is off kilter from what most rappers do. You know what Outkast's
So
whole shtick was? It wasn't the fact that Outkast was, just a great group. Their thing was we knew Outkast was ever changing, and we knew they were going to do something different, and that's what Nas gives you as a writer. It's not about I'm gonna keep telling stories backwards. It's the fact that I'm gonna keep finding ways to tell stories. I'm gonna keep changing up my formula and do things in a creative way. Like, whoa, that's what it's
now,
about as a
now
writer
you're
for
gonna
him.
keep changing your formula. I I need somebody to point that out to me because when you talk about I gave you power and beef, you're talking about metaphor. So what you're saying is Nas's ability to use metaphor is greater than Jay's ability to use double entendre. That's
Yeah.
the argument.
Oh, straight
That
up.
that's
I think Nas is a
that's one
creative writer.
argument in
Yeah, yeah,
30
yeah. Oh,
years.
yeah. I agree with
That's
that. I
one
think that
argument in 30
Nas's
years that
ability to do creative writing and say, you know what, I'm gonna make a song like One Love where I'm writing a letter to my homie that's locked up is greater than Jay's double
do you want to
entendre.
ride?
Yes.
I mean, okay, so I think that's a reach.
I
I
think
think
it's a
that's a
on
I think
your
that's
end.
a
I
I
don't
think
think double I'm gonna keep
I
it all
think
the way
that's a
real,
super reach
Leroy.
because you're going to go all the way back to 96 to stretch that out for 30 years.
No, not really. I think that again, I think it's more important than double entendres, to be honest with you. I think that being
It
able
is
to
until
be a
you
creative
understand.
writer and find new ways to display your rhymes and to tell stories and have the ability and the foresight to say, you know what, I saw Memento. It'd be dope if somebody actually told a story backwards and actually executed on it and actually wrote
How
that
many stories did he tell
to do
backwards?
that. Well, I mean, how many do you have to tell? Nobody did it before.
More than one.
Nobody did it before. Nobody did it after. So it doesn't even
But
matter how
if
many
Jay did
people.
it
How many
after,
people have? Is Jay the only person who's ever done double entendres? I can't say
no.
that. You can't say that. Is he the first to do double entendres?
So
No. But what
Nas
I
gave you
can
one
say,
one
if we're
time.
talking about telling a story backwards, Nas is the first and the
So
only one
one
to actually
time.
attempt it and do it.
So that one time he doing something once makes you the greatest MC.
It's not what he did once. It's the fact that he continuously finds new ways
Jay did
to do things.
22 twos and 44 fours. He did that twice. Doing something twice
I'll give you
for
44
30
fours. That was
years,
really dope.
we're gonna give Jay those 2 points for 30 years.
I'll give you 44 fours, and I still talk about 44 fours. I think that was an incredible display of lyricism. I'll give you that. I think also, again,
Lyrical
all of these
exercise,
things. Can I
same
finish?
technique
Can I finish?
as I gave you
Can I
power.
finish? I want
Lyrical
to finish my. I
exercise,
just want to
same
finish my
technique.
thought. I just want to finish my thought. I give you those things, and I even gave those things in consideration, up until what 2017. But again, this run that Nas and Hit Boy have been on can't be ignored, and the fact on top of that that I don't feel like Jay Z has given me Jay Z level material in 16 years. Yes, I would have to forge Nas ahead.
I'm not the
One
judge of
guy,
Jay
one guy
material.
is getting better and continuously giving us music, and the other guy is not at his level anymore and hasn't been at his level
I
in a long time. I mean, I know people don't like to say Jay Z fell off, but the truth is, we haven't gotten
Illmatic
a
be in
Jay
trouble.
Z level album in 16 years. That is the elephant in the room here.
I'm not the
That's the
judge of
elephant in
Jay.
the room here. We got 444. We got Magna Carta, which in my personal opinion is his worst album. The
I'm
Blueprint
not the
3,
judge of who.
eh.
Well, I'm not the judge of Jay's greatness. That's that. The people are making arguments. Like you make arguments of Jay's greatness, but who is the judge of that? Because I'm not the judge of. Now, if you are the judge of that,
Well, you seem
okay.
to be judging Nas pretty efficiently.
No, 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 no. I would say 444 is not supposed to be reasonable doubt. So when people
I'm
say, well,
not saying it's reasonable though.
444 is not as good as reasonable doubt, well, I would say it's not supposed to be reasonable doubt.
So you feel like Magic and all those other ones are supposed to be it was written in? Because that's how you formulated
It,
your
it
argument on the other
your
end.
argument was Nas is better now than he was and it was written.
I never
So
said that.
if
I never
you
said
just
that.
said it, you
I
just
never
said
said that.
Nas
I
is
said
getting
that
better.
he's
So
getting.
Illmatic, I need Illmatic to be blown out the water. When Nas and Primo
So
drop
you need
again,
Illmatic to
there's
be
no
blown out the
way.
water, but we
There's
don't need
no way.
reasonable doubt to be blown out the water. I get it. I get
Well,
it. It only works one
I
way.
think
We need Illmatic to be blown out the water, but
yeah.
we don't need reasonable doubt to be blown out the water because that's not supposed to be reasonable doubt.
I think on a maturity scale, Jay Z has shown maturity beyond reasonable doubt.
How
I
so?
think 444, it was written. I mean, a written testimony. Even American Gangster. I think that level of a well thought out, mature perspective is beyond the perspective on reasonable doubt. Because I think he's learned some things that trumps reasonable doubt,
Well,
perspective wise.
let's use your argument with Nas. Then it's like, okay, so from a
Okay,
technique standpoint, you think he superseded that? Because it seems
does
like
Nas? No, no.
you're not involving that part of it when it comes to Jay, but when it comes to Nas, then his writing has to be at the level of it was written. But when it
You
comes
said
to
technique.
Jay, no, but when it comes to Jay, you're like, okay, well, we're talking about maturity from reasonable doubt to now.
We could talk flow. I think if you go to Jay's flows now, he's stopping, starting, he's doing a bunch of different things that were not present in the same degree that they were on reasonable doubt.
Say that
That
again.
I mean, when if you look at maybe American Gangster's too far back, but we could go 4442, or
Yeah. All of
he
this stuff
just
is far back. He ain't
he
making no
blew
music.
he blew Jay Electronica out the water. Now I don't know any MC who could
Jay
do that.
Electronica, man.
Okay. I mean, get on the same track with Jay Electronica, see how it goes. Right. But as
He
far
another
as
person that don't make music.
yeah, because how can you get past Exhibit C? Who? Who is gonna get past it? Now, but
Man.
what I'm saying is the writing, right? Because you said the writing.
Right.
You said the writing. Jay now, when you can match Beyonce's R&B shit with flows, you have to change your flow on a drastic level because or else the music's not gonna make sense. Reasonable Doubt Jay, where I don't think he's capable of doing that.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because
Even
when
with Phil,
because
even with something like
I was gonna make a point real quick. I'm glad you mentioned that because if we're talking about growth and we're talking about flow, there were a lot of flows that Nas was able to pull off on KD3 and even KD2 that young Nas, even in his prime, wasn't able to pull off. It was written Nas, and even on I Am, he wasn't able to pull off the fast flow that well. Stuff that he did on Michael and Quincy, stuff that
I
he
give you
did
that.
on, stuff that he was able to do on, it's the record I'm thinking about, I'm tripping. I know the
I
people and
give you that. That's
kill me.
true.
Stuff that he pulled off on 30. You know what I'm saying? It's like he wasn't
I
able to
give you that.
do that.
I think he
And,
had trouble with 30.
hmm?
I think he had trouble with 30
I
because
don't feel
if you
like it, man. He sounds very seamless, and I've always been. And again, I'm Southern, man, so I'm from Atlanta, and the South. We ride beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that was always my thing. Even in comparing the two guys, one guy was able to get on Timberland beats, and is that your chick, and just flow, whereas Nas struggled with that. But now I'm hearing that he doesn't have that struggle anymore. Even the record that
that's
he
great,
got on with 50 Cent. Like he was going. Like I ain't
right?
never heard
Jay
Nas,
been there.
flow like that. And clearly
Jay been
it's clear that he's been working on that. You know what I'm saying? Like You
And
don't
that's
just
great.
wake up one day
He has,
whereas
yes.
my flow wasn't there before and now my flow is. And I got to give credit where credit's due. When you have a great who's able to add to their game, I got to give credit. You know what I'm saying? When Kobe was
Yeah.
able to add the post to his game that he didn't have before.
Other
When Jordan was able to add the turnaround fadeaway jumper to his game that he didn't have before, like it's clear he worked on that, and I got to give Nas credit for that. I'm not gonna act like he didn't grow.
respect,
Hasn't grown.
respect,
Yeah.
respect. So when I say the same guy who wrote Illmatic, who knows the tricks in how it was written, can blow that out the water because he actually wrote it in the first place. Do you see why I'm saying the same guy who wrote it might be able to blow it out the water? You know what I'm saying? That's not a far stretch. You wrote Illmatic, so you know all the tricks to it. You can supersede that if you wanted to.
I think it's a moment, and I think it's very difficult to supersede an album like that in a moment like that. Same thing for Jay. I think that
You wrote it.
if we want to be technical, though, and we've heard this argument online, we've heard this argument from Royce the 5'9" and Joel Ortiz. Some people will tell you, Crooked Eye too. Some people will tell you it was written as better than Illmatic for those reasons. But I think that the moment is just so strong with Illmatic and the timing. And you got Q-Tip at that time, you got Pete Rock at that time, DJ Premier at that time. It's like and Large Professor at that time, just the nostalgia and the
I
great
get it.
it makes it very difficult for 30 years later to be able to supersede that in the eyes of the masses. And I would say the same thing for Jay. Even if Jay got back
If
in
you
the
wanted to.
lab, even if he got back in the lab with Ski, Premier, and all these guys, it was rapping at a crazy level and did 44 fours instead of 22 twos. I think that we've been we've stuck with reasonable doubt for so long that you're not going to make something that supersedes that in the eyes of the masses. Now, what I will say is if you continue to stay consistent and make really good music and show that you still here and you're still a force, I mean, I think that says something. I think the fact that Nas was even showing in recent years that he was the best MC in the game, just if we're talking about
Mhm.
straight up lyricism and album making and all that, even in the conversation, that says a lot. And I think that what I would like to see from Jay is, some activity as far as an album goes, because I'm not gonna lie to you, like ever since he retired, it's kind of a hit or miss.
He
Like,
didn't retire. He didn't.
I mean, you know what
Here's
I
what
mean.
Jay.
After
Here's what
that
Jay is
first
saying.
run, after that first
Jay
run,
is
after the
saying
Black album, I mean, what we get? We get King, not Kingdom Come. Excuse me, that's a miss. American Gangster, that's a
but
hit. I
I
think.
don't judge. I can't judge what's a miss or not a miss
Well,
because
I'm just
it's a
telling
miss
you
for
for me.
you.
I
It's a miss
know,
for
I
you.
know you're
To
never
Jay
gonna
Z,
say
it's
anything
probably different.
adverse when it comes to Jay, but I'm just telling you, and I'll go on the other side with
I'm
Nas.
not the judge of Jay's greatness.
Well,
Like that's what I'm
listen,
saying.
I'm just a fan and I'm a music consumer. And as a consumer, I do, I should be able to judge which album that I will put money down for and spend
Right,
my
but
time
we do
to
know
listen
Jay's
to or
flops
not. So as a consumer,
are
I can
every
make
other
that
artist's
judgment.
greatest hits.
Just like if I want to go to
It's a
dinner
flop.
tonight, you know what I'm saying? I can make the judgment that I like that restaurant, I don't like that
Right.
restaurant.
Jay's
So
flops
that's
are
where that's
everybody
where I
else's
am.
highest level.
That's where I'm judging. So as a consumer,
I don't think y'all
Kingdom
judge.
Come, miss. Blueprint 3, okay. I mean, sorry, American Gangster, hit. I'm getting that right. Blueprint 3, I'll give him that. I think that was a big moment, even though I don't know
Probably
if
the
it aged.
biggest moment of life
I think that Blueprint 3 is his biggest moment since retirement, for
of
sure,
his life.
of his life. Okay. All right. And
Yeah,
then if we're going Holy Grail, that's a miss. 444, I personally don't like it, but I'm gonna be fair here. People like it. It was critically acclaimed, so I'll give him that. But even with that, that's 2017. And the other MC who's in the conversation with him, we talk about number one and two. since 2017 has dropped Nasir, has dropped Lost Tapes 2. We want to be fair. We'll put that out there too since we count the other Lost Tapes. Now,
Right.
Nasir
I
was,
know. I know
hit
what
or
he.
miss. Lost Tapes
I know
2,
what he.
that's not it. KD 2. I'm sorry, KD, dope. KD 2, dope. Magic, dope. KD
All that's
3,
dope. Okay.
dope. Magic 2, that could be hit or miss right
So
there.
just dope is the standard for Nas.
No,
Just
no,
dope.
no. I just said all of this.
Oh,
I
you
said
said
the same
just
thing
dope.
with Jay. I just said hit, miss, hit, miss. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
The
Then we're
only
going to
thing,
talk
only
about.
bar
You want
for
to go
Nas
further
is
than
just be
dope?
dope.
You want to be further than dope? I
Jay,
think
Jay
KD.
has to
KD
be
is
in
the
my
dope one,
dope.
right? I think KD 2 is a very good album. We're gonna do. Let's do this by mic ratings, right? If we're gonna do that, I think KD is a 4 mic album. I'm sorry. Eh. I think KD is a 3.5. I think KD 2 is a 4. Um.
KD2 is better than KD1. Okay.
Yeah.
You sure? You sure?
I'm sure. Magic, I give that 4.5. KD 3, I would give that a 5. Magic 2, I give that 3.5. And Magic 3, I give that 4.
Right. But
So
here's what I think Jay is saying, right? Jay is saying, like, on when they interviewed him when he did the thing at the library, right? He's saying, now I never retired, but what am I gonna do that you never seen me do? If I do something again, didn't you already see me do that already? So I would
and
actually just be showing you what you already know I can do. So what is the point? What can
at
I
this
do?
point,
What
as
can
an
I do
artist,
that you've never seen? That's the goal for Jay. The goal is to do something you've never seen me do because there's no point in me doing what you already know I can do. This is why
Leroy, Le,
444 exists because you've never seen that. A
you
one
know,
testament
I don't,
one
to
exists
me,
because you've never seen that.
kudos to Jay-Z for being the ultimate hustler because that's a crock of BS. That's never been his approach to music. I mean, he said, well, that kind of verbiage is for people like Kanye, for people like Outkast, or maybe even Kendrick Lamar, who maybe change their spots every time they drop. Jay never cared about doing things different like that. He was dropping album after
Where
album after album. And
why is
if
his
you wanna
album so
and if you
different?
wanna take on that position now, it seems like an excuse of the
Why
why
is
you're
album
just
so
not coming
different?
out with music. You just ain't got it. And if for that reason, I'm definitely giving the number one spot to the guy from that era who came out 2 years before him,
What
who was
yeah.
better in '94 than him, and now in 2024, 2025
Jay
is
didn't
better
have an
than him as
album in
well.
'94,
I
and it,
know. That's what I'm
and
saying.
he actually did, but that's another story for another day that
Yeah.
y'all don't know what existed in '94.
I
But
mean, you know what he was rapping like in '94. Jay, jigga the A, jigga the day. He was doing that
yeah,
stuff.
that I
While
mean,
Nas
I
was
can.
making Illmatic.
I mean,
Come on.
Jay, people, if people want to, you can go find material from '94 where Jay is rapping like he unreasonable doubt. But
Sauce Money on there.
the end is I do not believe that reasonable doubt 444 American Gangsta Volume 2, Watch the Throne, Dynasty, Magna Carta, Wit and Testimony, The Carters. I do not believe this the same guy on all those albums. I believe those are different Jays
Well, okay.
with different
All right.
perspectives, different approaches, totally different choice of picking music because the beats are literally different. Like Volume 2 does not sound like Reasonable Doubt, and which doesn't sound like American Gangster. Like he's picking different beats,
All right. Well,
so
let's
I do
wrap
not
up.
believe it's the same guy.
Let's wrap up. I'm gonna give you my final thoughts of why I think Nas is the greatest MC ever, and I would give him the nod. I'll say that the longevity, the amassed catalog that he has developed over a 30-plus year career. He never stopped. Very consistent. Clearly hip hop's best writer. Clearly hip hop's best storyteller. Has an elite rap voice. Has given us countless classic pieces of work, singles, features. Didn't even speak about that in our whole thing, and also his unreleased catalog is unparalleled. That's why he has all these multiple lost tape series, and he has even more than that that's never
that
seen
were
the
released.
day. And they're all are incredibly, and lyrically dense. I mean, like I said, Foul Breeze is mind blowing, and he's still coming up with incredible pieces of work to this day. The Hit Boy series solidified it for me. He did two series at once. He showed us it with his pen. He could do pretty much anything in any era, and Magic clearly was recorded in a matter of months, and he's showing us that at the age of 50. I just think that all those things considered, he's shown he's a great in every era except for like the 80s, if you will. And yeah, I think he's the greatest MC of all time. I don't think that anybody has
Okay.
caught up to that level of longevity at this point. And I'll let you go with your final thoughts.
I don't know what longevity argument Jay was not around for, because from my knowledge, Jay has always been around.
What year
If
is
if
it? It's
if
2025, right? When was
2025,
when was 444? That was 2017, right? It was about 8 years ago, huh?
2017.
Yeah.
So the year makes a difference.
Is it
Okay,
17? Or is it
the
16?
the year makes a difference for Jay Z.
Well, you said
That
around.
yeah
You talking about
he's
music,
been,
right?
yeah. If you count Jay's songs,
It's eight
what you
years.
will if you count Jay's material, what you will find that he's not lacking in quantity. So the quantity argument is actually a smokescreen. So
Is it?
because from 96 to 2020, a written testimony, if you count all of Jay's releases, he's not lacking in quantity.
Okay.
So that argument is a smokescreen. You could count all of Nas material.
Does he have more albums than Nas?
He doesn't need more albums because the number of songs is still the same. If
You
you take
so
all
you're
of
telling me
if
he
you
has
take
more
all of
songs
Nas
than
songs
Nas?
total, take
That's
all of
false.
Nas songs total, then you count all of Jay's releases total, but also count features as Jay material, right?
Nas has a lot of features too, man. I think you're
It's the
understating.
same amount of songs, y'all. It's the same amount of songs. You're dealing
So
with less. You're dealing with less than maybe. It's a very
so
small gap.
time out. So and I'm gonna let you
Count the
finish because I
songs. All
did
right,
interrupt you. I just want to
count
be
the
clear.
songs.
You're counting features as his songs.
I'm counting features as work.
You
As
just
work.
said you're counting, so you're not counting features as his song.
I'm counting features as his voice on music and being released. Because you said unreleased. Unreleased means we don't have access to it.
I
So
mean,
once you say, so if we have access to it, it's been released. So you gave Nas credit for unreleased when those projects are actually released. So
no, Foul Breeze ain't on anything.
Lost Tapes was released. Lost
Foul
Tapes
Breeze ain't
2.
on anything. I'm talking about
Lost
stuff
Tapes
that
2 was
I
released.
want to clarify because maybe you're misunderstanding me, or if anybody in the
The
audience is
quantity, if the
misunderstanding.
quantity argument
I just
wins,
don't know. I want to
currency is low.
clarify. Let me clarify real quick, just in case you misunderstood what I was saying. I'm not even talking about the Lost Tapes and Lost Tapes 2. He has so much unreleased stuff outside of it. I wasn't even talking about that stuff. Foul Breeze ain't on anything. I'm not talking about those records. I'm talking about stuff that never made it on anything. That's just on YouTube sitting somewhere. So
You
I
don't
want to
think
clarify that.
what happens when people puts in unreleased Jay-Z in YouTube? How many songs are going to come up?
I haven't
A
heard
lot.
them. I don't know. Do they
Albums worth of songs.
exist?
Yeah, you're going
Can
to be
you
sitting there
confirm they
all day.
exist?
Yeah. Yeah, put in
So,
everybody
so
put
we
in
haven't heard
unreleased.
it, but we have to just assume that it exists.
No.
Why?
No. Everyone go to YouTube right now. Put unreleased Jay-Z. It's right there. It's
Okay.
right there.
Well, what songs should we check for that are unreleased by Jay Z like that?
You could start with Reach the Top,
Okay.
but it's right there.
Reach the Top is
And
high level.
a very high level.
Okay. All right.
That's like 94 J. And you can find an album's worth of 94 J where he's rapping like that.
Okay. All right.
That's a fact.
Okay.
But but you're making a quantity argument. You can't make a quantity argument with a guy who's been rapping since 1996 because it doesn't work because there's too much quantity. There's too much quantity for Jay-Z to be lacking in quantity, is what I'm saying.
But you
Yeah.
said Jay Z has more songs than us.
In my opinion, I tried to
No,
count.
those are you. That's either fact or fiction. Like it's a number.
Let me give you why. The reason why is because I tried to count every song Jay-Z has done. By the time I passed 500, and it wasn't even by the time I passed 500 and I'm still in 2008, it's like I quit counting.
Okay.
Now, if people don't believe that's true, y'all remember when I had it listed on paper and I showed it to the camera on this
I'm
show.
sure somebody here in the comment section will do their own count, and I'm looking forward to
I
seeing.
can go. I can go get it right now. If I don't see the
No,
comments, but if y'all
you
want me
don't
to go
have to
get it,
do that. We
just
gotta
say go
go. We
get it.
gotta go.
Yeah.
I want you to give your closing thoughts.
Okay. My closing thoughts is the reason why Jay-Z is not out here rapping is because you've seen him rapping so many times. You know he can do it. So it doesn't make sense. Like he has to do something that has not been done, or else what is the point? It's been done. It's been done. If you come out, you know what I mean. It's been done, Jay. So you have to do something. Which is why I've always said rap about where your life is at right now, because that has not been done. But anyway, um, the longevity argument. Anybody who got 14 number one albums, I mean, they don't have to make a longevity argument. And anyone who's been around, anybody, if he drops a song right now, everyone's gonna stop what they're doing and race to go hear it. It's been that way since the 98. So the longevity, that is ridiculous. Lyrically, I think people are just assume that Nas is the greatest. But when I ask for the technique, they're only going to give me Rewind and I Gave You Power over and over for 30 years. That is metaphor and conceptual writing. Jay has used metaphor and conceptual writing, just to put that out there. But I think basically what I'm saying is all the boxes that Nas checked, Jay has already checked those boxes. So what new box? What new? Just saying that Nas has 6 albums, Jay got 6 albums. Just saying Nas can record quickly, Jay can record quickly. Like these boxes have been checked.
Well, I
So
will say this. Well,
just simply
at this
rapping,
stage in his career, though, I think that's
just
the impressive part for me. The
Jay
fact that Nas
Jay
is able to
having
do
to
this at this
prove that he
stage.
can rhyme words together. I think he proved to you that he can rhyme words together already. I think he already proved that to you. Now, if he needs to prove that to you again, it would literally be the 1,000th time that he's proven it. So at what point do you say, okay, Jay, he be rapping? Like, at what point? What like you've had a lifetime of examples of him doing it over and over and over. And I'm not saying I don't want a new project from Jay. I do. But in Jay's mind, he's like, if I already did something, I'm not gonna repeat it because I already did that. I got to
Well,
do something completely new. Nas, he's not doing that. Love you, Nas, but Nas is not saying I have to do something completely different. He's saying if I give you KD 1, I'm gonna give you KD 2. Then I'm gonna give you KD 3. If I give you Magic 1, I'm gonna give you Magic 2. I'm gonna give you Magic 3. In the writing technique,
you
he
don't think
has
that
not
was different? He has never done that.
he has not changed
He's
any
never
of the
no. He's never made a brunch on Sundays. He's never done that. Like it is different. I think you're discounting that.
So
I think
I don't know what new
the
technique
flows are
Nas.
different too. The
I don't
collabs
know
are
what
different.
new
When you're
technique
sitting
Nas
there,
used.
when you're collaborating with, what I'm saying, like, what he did on Spicy, like that's different. It is different. Like
I don't
I'm
know what new. I mean, and even in that realm
yeah.
before. How long have y'all been Hit Boy fans? Because I don't think you were really Hit Boy fans at all. Because if you were Hit Boy fans, what was Hit Boy's goal? before he met Nas? Why is he making beats? Why is his name
I'm
Hit
not sure why that
Boy?
has to do with it. What that has to do with
Why is his name
it. I'm not sure.
why does he have Hit in his name? Because his goal was to make hits, right? Now has Nas made the equivalent of hit records as Jay-Z? Not now. Now he gets to skip that because we like Nas as a person, so we give him the pass. But Jake don't have no passes. Jay has to check every box at the highest level with no pass. That includes the commercial box. Nas doesn't have to check no commercial box at all.
I
Nas can make
honestly, no, no, no.
Nas can skip the entire mainstream and will say, well, he's the best. But he had never had to.
I
Now he has
I don't
played
feel
on
like
radio.
Nas has skipped the mainstream because I think this is noteworthy. And again, I don't like bringing up sales, but Nas has sold 35 million records worldwide. I don't think that's skipping the mainstream. He's also, recently sold out, Madison Square Garden. I don't think that's skipping the mainstream.
Okay, so
think,
if he
I
didn't
think
skip the
that if you're
mainstream,
talking radio, there's a lot of politics that go on the radio that Jay Z was able to be a little bit more successful in on that lane than Nas, if you will. But we talk about Hit Boy and making hits. I feel like, I'll always say this, I think Get Light is a hit for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Commercial radio wasn't
so
getting
it's the
pop.
radio's fault.
It is.
Okay, so but what? So we are in agreement that there is competition commercially between Nas and Jay. There's a competition there.
But I also feel like when we're talking hip hop and we're talking a counterculture and we're talking about something that's supposed to go against
There's
the
no
machine,
competition with
I
Jay.
think when you talk about something that's supposed to go against the machine, I don't think that the mainstream, gives us our cues on who we call our greats. People like Rakim don't have number one records, and it don't even fucking matter. People like people
But
like
we got to keep
Scarface
that
don't
same
have
energy.
number one hit records, and it don't matter because
But
this
we
is
got to
hip
we
hop.
got to.
This ain't
Okay,
this
so
pop. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to have that argument, yeah, Jay might check those boxes in the pop world, but for hip hop, I don't know how much that matters. Actually, I do. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so we got to keep that energy. I don't want to hear no more hit talk or popular rap talk. Keep that energy. Let's keep it strictly to the street. You know what I
No, it
mean?
doesn't have to
Because
be one way or another. I'm just saying, like, when we talk about hits, it doesn't really hold as much weight in hip hop as it might hold in
I don't
pop.
hear that talk. I hear hit records
How
hold
many
weight.
records did Teddy Pendergrass sell?
When
Who
I'm
cares?
listening to rap
Who
conversations,
cares?
when I'm listening to rap conversations, it always turns into million sold hit records. That's what I hear. So when I bring up Jay Z, then all of a sudden hits don't matter.
Well, the
When
truth
everybody,
is,
when Jay
you
Z's
want to know
recording,
why? You want to know why I say that? And I do think hits are an accomplishment, and I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite on anything. But hold on one second.
the people, there is no comparison with Nas and Jay in a commercial lane. Now, Nas fans think there is a comparison. I'm telling you, there's no comparison
Well,
there.
this is what I wanted to say. And I'm going to be
Respectfully.
completely honest here because I don't want to sit here and be a hypocrite because, yes, hit records do matter. Hit records sell records. The way the music industry works is hit songs sell the records, and, and those records fund all projects, whatever, whatever. But when it comes to Jay, in my personal opinion, I think that his strength is in those non hit records. He was in the conversation before he even had hit records because those non-hit records are so great. The Can I Lives of the world, you know what I'm saying? The Evils of the world, Dead Presidents. He doesn't need those hit records to be in the conversation. And honestly, his hit records to me are some of his weaker records, and that never really helps. I feel
So
that
Jay is equally
I
great.
feel like that about Outkast too. When we talk about Outkast and Tribe, I feel like Tribe's hit records are quality records on high level for Tribe, whereas Outkast's best records are their non-hit stuff. I think Spodiote has gotten more legs than any of those singles that they released back in those days because it's just a better quality record. I think that Jay-Z's quality comes down when he's making hit records. I think that's why he didn't put out You Don't Know as a single on the Blueprint and chose to put out songs like Girls, 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 Izzo, and Jigga That Nigga Jigga, because for him, a hit record sounds like a certain thing. That's the hustler in him. But when
What
it comes
Nas?
to the quality, the best records on that album are
I'm not the judge
You
of that.
Don't Know Me. I'm not, You Don't Know Me. You Don't Know, Heart of the City, those records.
What Nas fans need to do is articulate why the writing Nas does is stronger than the hit records Jay does. Now that should
Why do they have to say that? Because
because
Jay-Z's hit
what Nas
records just
fans
aren't
always
that
do is
strong. They did what they did for the time that they did
what
it. But
Nas fans always do is say
Jay-Z's
we
hit
don't
records
want
aren't that strong. That's the problem, man. Like his hit records
I
aren't
got
that strong.
Google Jay Z. Everyone Google Jay Z. Now you
Well,
tell
no.
me what's
Let
strong
me
and not strong.
let me
Now,
ask you, and
Google
we'll
Jay
go
Z,
on
y'all,
this note.
because
What
Nas
are your
fans
10
say we
favorite Jay-Z
automatically
songs?
win with no explanation.
What are your
That's the
10
Nas
favorite
argument.
Jay-Z songs?
But my favorite Jay Z songs,
What are
the
Jay-Z's
point
10 best songs? You can pick either
the
or. Do
point.
you want to do favorite
I'm
or
not the
best?
judge of best. I'm not
Okay.
the judge of
Okay.
best. I hear you. But the point I'm making is Jay is equally great in both arenas. If you put him in a commercial arena, he's
He's
great. If you
not.
put him, if you Jay's not great in a
He's
commercial space.
successful. He's successful in commercial arenas. Pac and Big were great in commercial arenas. I could sit there and
Jay's not
listen.
great
Now listen to what
in a
I'm saying.
commercial
Listen to
space.
what I'm saying. I could listen to One More Chance and hear that nigga that's on One More Chance and say, on a rap level and on a skill level, that's the same guy that's on Everyday Struggle. That's the same guy on Warning. Who is like, first things first, I pop up freaks, all the honeys, dummies, Playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those are the ones I like because they don't get Nathan, but penetration, unless it smells like sanitation, garbage, I turn like doorknobs. Heartthrob never, black and ugly as that. Like, Jay's not rapping like that on his hit songs.
Never been a
On
nigga this good for this long. This
That's
hood.
not a
This is my
hit.
business.
That's not a hit. Give me another one.
Dirt off your shoulder. You want to go dirt off your shoulder? You want to go 99 problems? You want to go
Sure.
where you want to go?
Sure. That's not the level. He's not rapping to the
Well,
level
I'm
that
not
he
the judge
raps
of
on.
levels.
No, he's not. That's not the
The
levels.
notion is Nas is the equivalent of Jay in the commercial space. He's not. And
Well, when
also
you listen to Nas's bar work, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. Like Nas's bar work on If I Ruled the World, and I'm not even a big fan of If I Ruled the World like that. It wraps circles around any of Jay's hit records. If you want to talk about rapping on a hit record, Nas rapping on If I Ruled the World wraps circles around any hit record that Jay has.
see, and these are the type of statements that is like, because if I ask you, show me the rhyme that
What?
accomplishes
What?
that.
No, show me the hit record that Jay has where he's rapping better than Nas on If I Ruled the World.
Empire State of Mind.
He's not rapping better than Nas on If I Ruled the World. We could poll that or anything. So you're telling me
The
the bars on Empire State of Mind
flow,
better than the
flow,
bars on If I Ruled the World? That's
flow.
crazy talk.
You said rapping. Rapping is
Yes.
delivery. Rapping is delivery, not content.
So you're
You said,
telling me he out rapped Nas on Empire State of Mind from Nas's rap performance on If I Ruled the World.
but Nas needs 30 if I ruled the worlds to make this argument make sense. One,
No, he
if I ruled the
doesn't.
world,
What I'm
no,
saying
that's not
is
the equivalent to Jay.
I'm making my
One,
point. I'm making my point that Jay's level on hit records is not the same
nope.
as Nas's level on hit records, Pac's level on hit records, or Biggie's level on hit records.
Okay,
You
everybody,
can you
Google
can
Big
see a
and Pac.
resemblance. Now I want to finish my point though.
Google
You
Big
can
and Pac's
see
hit records. Then
a
Google Jay Z.
resemblance. You can see a resemblance of the MC that's on If I Ruled the World as the same MC that's on The Message. When Jay's making a hit record, he dumbs it all the way down. That's why his B-sides
But
are his strongest piece. That's why even
that
when they
doesn't
talked
change it.
about doing the verses, Jay talking about B-sides because he knows his B-sides are his
That
strongest
doesn't
records.
but that doesn't erase that the fact that he has those hits though. If he
Again,
dumbs
I
down
don't
on
feel like
Hard Knock
those
Life,
hits.
it
I
doesn't
don't feel
erase
like
Hard
those
Knock
hits
Life.
add to the quality of his catalog. Is the point that I'm
But
making.
it doesn't erase it. If Jay says I dumbed down on Hard Knock Life, it doesn't erase Hard Knock Life from the books.
I don't know. Of course it doesn't. But when you start putting music up against music, you're like, okay, well, Hard Knock Life ain't
It's
Nas'
still
life.
there.
It's not. You know what I'm saying? Like if we sitting here putting Hard Knock Life as a record up against Nas's like as a record, it doesn't stand. Nas is like
Okay,
a record.
okay, but I owe you what Nas song with Genuine. It's not on the same level as Nas is like, but we don't expect it to be either.
Well, you owe me is just it's a mess up in my personal opinion.
We
I
don't
think you
expect it.
owe me.
Not Doctor
I
Doctor
think you owe
Knockboo
me
was on the
Nostradamus.
B side.
Now I think you
Doctor
owe me and Nostradamus are slip ups, and for that reason, because the artist isn't tapping into you know what I'm saying what they do best. This is how I always feel, and I've been consistent with this. Yes, a hit record. You need a hit record. The industry moves on hit records, but I've always
right.
said you need a hit record that is going to tap into what you do best. Like you, Lil Wayne needs a Millie, right? Like obviously on paper, you know, Lollipop does what it does, but those aren't the hit records that you need, you know, for your catalog and the strength of your catalog, because that's not going to really add to it in the way that you don't know, not you don't
I
know,
got
but
you.
you don't
If
know me
Jay loses
like Ti
points,
or what you know. Like you need those hit records that are able to exemplify what you do best, and I think what Jay did with his string of hits, he rarely tapped into his skill set. I think Jigga What Jigga Who is one of those rare moments where a hit record, he came through and did what he does. That nigga spitting on there. He's giving you the flow. He's giving
right?
you lyricism. He's giving you a hit record. He's showing you why he is who he is. And I don't feel like on his hit records, he did that enough. I think what he did with his hit records, he leaned into what was going on. He adjusted. He kind of dumbed down it so people could get it, which is cool. But if we're talking about in the long run and you start stacking it up with the rest of your catalog, your non-singles are just much better songs than your mains and than your
I'm
singles.
saying Nas doesn't have to do no singles. He gets the benefit of the doubt. He doesn't have to do mainstream at all.
He did. That's why he has you
He
both.
could skip mainstream at all. He doesn't
Nah, he
have. We
never.
don't have to
He nah.
count
I don't
any.
think that's true. I don't think
We don't
that's
have to count any Nas records in mainstream, and he gets a pass.
Nah,
Jay's not
I don't
getting
think
that pass.
that's true. When it was written, he had to make Street Dreams. He had to do the remix with R. Kelly. He had to make, you know, I gave you power. He had to make If I Ruled the World. He had to make Nas's like, not Nas's like. He had to make Hate Me Now. Excuse me. He had to make Doctor Knock Boot. He was trying to, you know, get some radio play. That's what you had to do in those times. So it's not like he
Okay.
didn't have to do it. He had to do it.
I'm
Made you
cool with
look. It made you
I'm
look
cool
as
with
just
both
one.
arguments. I'm cool with both arguments. Either we're gonna respect the hit records or we're gonna take points off.
Nah, I
I'm with
respect the hit records,
I'm
and
with
I
both
think it.
ways.
I don't
Whatever
think it's
way y'all
one
want
or
to
the
go.
other though, Leroy. I think that we have to look at the hit records not just for their performance, but we got to look at the quality of the hit records too. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't. I think what we
Don't
often
disagree with it.
do. I think what we often do with hit records, we look at the performance of the record and put that over the quality or lack thereof of the record. I always tell people, man, like to me, and you know, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan. Billie Jean is Michael Jackson's greatest song ever. And I think for a lot of people it's such a standard and he's so identifiable with the song, we kind of overlook how great of a song it is because of how well it performed, right? But when you look at that record and lyrically what he did, his approach to how he approached it, subject matter, he never had taken on a record like that before. And really, there's not many records that sound like Billie Jean. I can't even put Billie Jean into a genre. Is it R&B? Is it disco? Is it pop? What is it? You know what I'm saying? Sonically.
I
And I
get
think
you.
that we don't. I think with hit records, sometimes we just look at the performance of the record as opposed to looking at the quality of it, whether that be a good thing or a bad thing. Like I don't really think In the Club is a quality hit record. It's a hit record though. I never really loved it like that. Like you know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
know what people mean by quality. Well, I'll just put that out. I don't know what people mean by quality.
Well,
I'll just
I
say
guess
that.
that's subjective at that point.
I don't
I think
know
that,
what
I
you
think that
mean.
what we know that 50 Cent can do lyrically, it felt like he was giving us just the basics. Find me in the club,
Yeah,
bottle full of, but like he can make that record in his sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't anything like super witty or but on the flip side, let's look at slow jams from Kanye. Think that's a
right.
quality hit record. You got Jamie Foxx, you got Twister, and you guys took these old school concepts. It was like, you know what? This man ain't nobody slow dancing in the club, and then you sped it up, and you got Twister to come in and do what he does, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and you had
Here's
like
why I
it's
don't
a lot of
understand.
thought that was taking place in that record. You know what I mean?
Here's why I don't understand what people say when they say quality. I hear two things when people say the word quality. The first thing I hear is they mean the actual engineering. So I'm hearing
Well, yeah,
I think
sound quality is one thing.
I think sound quality. So when people say Jay's music hits aren't quality, I'm thinking the sound
Nah.
engineering.
More
Now,
times than
second,
not, sonically hit records are going to come through very well because they have
now,
to. Because they have to go to radio.
second, when people say quality, I'm going to defer and think they mean skill. Well, if they mean skill, my, my level of quality is records that you will never hear because they're too underground. So that's my idea of quality. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Is skill.
Well,
Now, when we talk
complex
about
skill
skill,
doesn't have to be. Oh, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
like when you say quality, I'm thinking skill. So, I mean, I'm thinking ka, right? That's quality, skill, right? But what I'm saying is Jay Z, he checks the skill box. No matter how much people want to argue that point, he checks the skill box. When we go into the commercial space, then it gets murky. It
Hmm.
gets murky because people act like he ain't checked that box 1,000 times. He has already checked that box. Now, Nas, we know that he has not checked the box in the same way that Jay has. So when you say Nas, Jay doesn't have the storytelling box, he didn't check it as many times as Nas did. Well, Nas didn't check the radio box as many times as Jay did. So we can play that game. It's only you know what I'm
And
saying?
I guess which one is more important when it comes to hip hop? You know what I'm saying? I think that when you're talking about a pop discussion, yeah, hit records and all that stuff, yeah, that box being checked more times might hold a little bit more weight. But in hip hop's about storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So, but
We
let's get
wouldn't
out of here, man. I got to roll. I had
we
to.
wouldn't get them stories unless somebody paid for them. The money came from hit records.
Well, that's true. I'll give you that. All right. Well, who won this
Hey,
debate? Y'all hit like and subscribe, man. I appreciate you joining me,
love it.
Leroy, man. This was fun.
It's
All
all good.
right.
Yeah, I stayed longer than I planned to, but
Me too. All right. I knew this was going to happen.
yeah.